Hey everybody, welcome back to the Anime Association. This week we've got another anime discussion for you. It is Fire Force episode 4. Before we get straight into that episode, we've got Kyle, Tim, and we got Anime Addict. Good guys?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Just don't forget the times 10 next time, and we good. We good. We good.
I'll forget it every time. Um, so yeah, just so as you guys already know, episode 4, Fire Force is out, and wow, some good stuff has happened. But just before I tell you guys all the good stuff that's happened, make sure to subscribe to the Anime Association. That helps us greatly. Make sure to drop us a like. It is free for you, and it also hopefully makes other people that are keen to find the discussion find it. So we all win here. So let's get straight into it. So guys, episode 4. Let's start off with you, Kaito. Give me your briefest general thoughts of the episode. How are you feeling about episode 4 of Fire Force?
I was very exciting all the way through both fights, and then the ending left me very surprised too. I definitely wasn't expecting how the ending rolled out, but really the fight was it was a really good fight. So I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, Addict.
Yeah, the fight was really good. I liked how they basically found a solution and then applied it. Um, and the ending, man, it's got me begging and pleading that he's not going to turn, but who knows?
Well, they better not mess around
So
with
sad.
Captain Ovi, because hey, that's just my guy itself. But like before we talk about all like the fights and everything, just a general feeling itself. Like, how did you guys feel about the less of a focus on Burns, Shinra, and Joker in this episode, but more or less highlighting Falcon, Licht, Tamaki. I'm forgetting someone.
Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa, how are you guys feeling? That it was more or less focused on them and less of Shinra, Burns, Joker, and Obi, because obviously they're all there to save Obi, and I'm on the edge here thinking, because I don't read the manga, but I'm on the edge thinking what's happening to my guy here. But what were your thoughts on that focus on the team, on the other team members, and less so much on the main prominent characters?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really good. Like I was kind of, touching upon earlier, the way that they would like find the solution and then apply it. So like, all the scientific terms and everything that they were using, I really liked how they broke that down, and it was easy to understand. Counteracting the gold with iron, and basically that way she can't use the magnetic field, all these different things. And then the way that she went out, I'm actually surprised at how much they actually like showed. Um, he, what is that his name? The lieutenant. The way that he just like straight up just like shot her in the head, and they actually showed it. So I was surprised at that.
Yeah, same. It was more graphic than what I was expecting. Uh, but I enjoyed the fact that it stayed mostly in one place, one scene for the most part. It made the story a little bit easier to follow and kind of gave it more prominence and more importance to the story about what they were doing, because it showcased that they don't need Shinra and they don't need Arthur, because their teamwork is just that solid, and they're that much of a team that they can work, figure stuff out. They have the brawn, they have the strength, they have the techniques, they have the experience. And it was really nice to see the eighth really come together and take care of a big threat that gold was, because not knowing how she was applying her technique, I thought she had like some lightning ability whole time. She's just heating up the gold in order to create a magnetic field, and the way that they use metal against her, that was very, big brain 5D type of move. Um, I wish we could have seen a little bit more of her. It seemed like they got rid of her really. I'm not going to say easily, but I understand we got to keep the story moving, and it's, we're following certain plot points and get it going. Um, and then, the second fight later on, that was I'm not going to say lackluster, but it was like, well, what was the whole point of him coming after her, right?
No, but that's true. But like just kind of circling back a little bit with what you guys were talking about is, I quite, one of the best bits for me, and we'll kind of get those best bits from you guys, is the emphasis on Licht and Falcon, the overall appreciation of intelligence, not that, showing you that, fighting, yes, fighting is great, these guys, they've got all the skills, and they're the muscle, but the importance of the mental side of it is that, because they were struggling until Licht and Falcon came up with the solution. More or less, Licht himself, saw because you could almost see it was a puzzle that was really troubling him at first, because he kept calculating, how's this? Oh, I'm seeing magnet, I'm seeing gold, this, how, this, and then he really started constructing it, only to then have that smirk when he figured it out and relays the information back to Vulcan, telling him to tell Tamaki not to use some of the metal gauntlets itself, because like he had figured it out itself. And that was the best bit for me itself. Like, what was within the episode itself, what was the best bit for you guys? Like, the key things that really hooked you.
I would say them doing the after figuring out how to take her down, using all their resources to smelt down the iron.
Yep.
I think that was a pretty cool part of and probably a highlight of their teamwork, of how, oh, she can't get it hot enough, and then they start, applying oxygen, and then they use well, no, they used the amplifier, and then they started applying oxygen. So like you said, it's not just about brawn, it's about the brains of it all. And I think that really helps balance out power, like the whole power scaling thing. While she
Yep.
herself is way stronger than everybody, it goes to show that it's more about the knowledge of how to beat somebody versus just pure strength. The one question I do have, because maybe I'm not remembering it, but Vulcan, he's the one that's watching the battle itself, and then Licht is behind the wall. Is Vulcan the one transmitting the image to Licht to see it, or is that how that like VR type headset technology works?
Yeah, because with like Licht, with his the goggles that like he has, he kept like looking back and forth, so he was like seeing what Vulcan was like sending him, so he could see like what they were dealing with.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I was figuring, but I wasn't too sure if they were both just analyzing, which I'm pretty sure they both are. But I guess
Mm.
sending that signal back. But yeah, like I said before, the teamwork is really what sold the episode to me the most.
Yeah, addict.
Yeah, for me, it was that bomb that Tamaki used. It kind of reminded me of Cooler's supernova, the way that she, kind of had it like up above her head and then dropped it down. And I honestly thought that that was gonna beat Gold, because it seemed like she kind of like accepted defeat. She didn't really move, but it was really just like because she knew it wasn't gonna beat her, so she was unfazed. Um, but yeah, I think they really did a good job highlighting Tamaki. I know like there was some fan service as well, but other than that, they did a really good job of highlighting her abilities.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
talk
Go.
about the. I'm sorry, getting you, but in talking about the whole fan service thing, I really like how they actually incorporated that into the plot. The one thing I noticed about Fire Force is when they take like a gag, it actually comes to play in the plot, and it's not a gag just for the sake of a gag. Whether you agree with it or not, it's still tied into the plot and help them even go against her, successfully.
Yeah, no, I think it was something that I was going to touch upon, because I know in the previous episode we had kind of just gone on about how we appreciated at that time that they hadn't gone fan service heavy. I mean, this what we've seen in episode 4 wasn't what you'd consider fan service heavy, but it was something itself, but it wasn't it as Kyle Tim was saying, is it was more of a fan service that enhanced the plot itself. It wasn't just, oh, for the sake of it, that her bikini things has fallen off. No, it was whatever they were doing. It was when they were trying to melt the metals itself. Yeah, cameraman decided to go for certain angles, okay, but it was things that enhanced the plot itself in terms of what they were trying to achieve. And I really did appreciate that um Tamaki got her juice, because like it was everybody gets some moments in there, but it was really good to highlight her techniques. Obviously, being able to melt these ones, obviously with some assistance, but also her speed, but also just her being able to eventually shoot that metal down structure onto Gold's hand, and just seeing Gold kind of worried, like, oh crap, what's happening here. That was really good itself. And then when we kind of, just as we said, like, this episode didn't really focus much on Shinra, Burns, and them, but we did get a little bit of Burns, Shinra, and Joker itself. Burns is just still standing there. He's just still charging up. I don't know why they're not doing anything more. Try to throw some hands, a few more hands in there. What are your thoughts? Like, we see at the end of the episode, they've infected Obi. I
So
hope
sad.
protect my captain, right? With this bug, what this bug will do, we will find out. What were your thoughts, guys, when you saw them injecting that bug into Obi itself? Are you fearing the worst, or do you think, oh, they might get him in the nick of time, or you think this things could be cooked for Obi?
Me personally, I was in shock because I think all this time I was just thinking that they're gonna save him in time, which
Yep.
they still could save him, but the bug's already inside of him, so it essentially looks like he's gonna be taken over. Um, but uh, the back to your point with the fight, I think they were kind of just letting that kind of cool off a little bit. We see the other
Yep.
fight, how it unfolds and everything, and then we're gonna come back to this fight now. Another thing is, if Obi does transform, do he and Burns tag team, kind of against Shinra and Joker? Or also, could we possibly see some of the other eighth kind of come up? Because I know that there's a fight with Arthur coming up with another one of the White Clad members.
Yep.
Yeah, that was. Oh man, I almost broke my screen when I seen that, trying to get that bug away from Obi. Man, that it hurts to see that, especially we know so much about him. We done grown with him. We feel like he's our captain, right? The one thing that has me uh is two things. Have they found a cure for the Infernals yet? Do you think that's going to be something that Licht is going to have to come up with? Because obviously he's transforming. That's kind of what the cliffhanger showed us. And
Yep.
then, uh, secondly, is, do you think, because they were talking about different type of Infernals in the previous episode, do you think he's going to end up being a doppelganger? So he's not going to necessarily change into the normal infernal form. So maybe the eighth is going to appear and not know he's an infernal, and then they're going to have to fight someone that looks like Obi but isn't Obi.
Ooh, interesting thought. Addict on that?
Um, I could probably see him being a doppelganger as opposed to a typical Infernal. Um, I just think that the way that this is going, um, that it's gonna be a thing where um, no matter what, they're gonna have to fight him, and whether or not they're able to save him is the real question. Because um, for people that know like where this ending is going and like what it leads to, there's so many possibilities that they could go with Captain Obi and just everyone in general in the show.
Yeah,
That's
and
very
also to go to the fight with Burns, I think they're building up more of the tension with between Shinra and Burns, because every time we go back to it, it's always Shinra reflecting on something that Burns did because he looked at him like a father figure. But also, I think they're not showing it to us, but I do think Shinra and Joker are actually attacking him and not just sitting there. I think that was kind of inferred when Shinra was saying, "Of course, you're standing there, not saying anything," and it was because they are actively trying to do something, especially Shinra, because it's more emotional to Shinra for what's going on.
I can see that. That's really interesting. And then as we said, like we see that gold has been put down, and I think it was Steam. I think it's the white clad person that ended up coming in after gold. I think it was Steam.
Yeah.
Who had these hurricane kind of techniques. Like I said, it was great seeing how Vulcan and Lick started panicking in terms of trying to decipher the mechanics of how they're doing this, and then you obviously see the cuts that Tamaki gets on the side of her face, but someone that we had been wondering not where they were but when they would show up makes an appear, which is Knight Arthur himself. Makes an appearance. I mean, what were your thoughts? Obviously, one, seeing him appear, two, but also him kind of one-shotting this this member, whereas obviously the crew had just been struggling just to beat gold. Really, like, what were your thoughts seeing him and then just him one-shotting? Tim, go, Kaio. Tim.
Uh, I think it goes to show the training with Benny Maru really paid off. I think that's what that shows, is that he's now surpassed like not a breaking point, but a certain level that he can
Yep.
just come in one shot. And I think it kind of starts putting Arthur in a tier with Shinra, and like maybe like I don't remember exactly how strong Joker is, but maybe like a tier below Joker, maybe a little bit below him. I know that's power scaling, which is something completely different, but it was kind of, it was intense of what was going on, because the one guy, I can't think of his name, was about to die, and then we see the big slash that got rid of Steam. And as far as the actual Steam stuff, I like the fact that we're seeing different applications of heat and fire being used, to the point where it's not just everybody shooting fireballs out, but actually seeing more versatility out of it.
Yeah, addict.
Yeah, I agree with Tim. It's basically like a threshold that Arthur had back in, the former seasons, and his training with Benny Maru, he's able to surpass that threshold, and now we're starting to see what he's capable of, and like he one shots this guy, and I could honestly agree with him where you say he might be on the same level as Shinra now, because they basically had the exact same training, so it was basically like they were taught the same things, so now they're kind of like on the same level type of thing, and we got a little taste of that at the first episode where they were training a little bit, because now they're still, yeah, I feel like they've kind of been even throughout. Maybe Shinra was a little bit stronger at one point, but now I feel
Mhm.
like they're at the same level.
Very interesting. And then, like, as we see, as the episode ends with the bug being put to Obi itself, like, just like quick thoughts, like, what are you anticipating to see in the next episode itself? Like, is it gonna be like a slow turn, or is it gonna be like quick turn? What are you expecting to see in the next episode?
So I am expecting uh the eighth to show up on the roof. Well, no, I
Yep.
take that back. I don't see the eighth showing up, because there's the big guy that they randomly brought up that's not shown up yet, probably like behind the door or something. And maybe Arthur's going to hold him back. Everybody else from the eighth is going to go from the roof. I do think that Obi will be a doppelganger, but I think the fight with Burns will escalate, because Shinra's going to try to make it to Obi, and Burns is going to stop that. And we're going to end up seeing a Shinra and Joker fight. Maybe in the next few episodes, we'll see something. I think Joker might end up dying, maybe sacrificing himself to protect Shinra in the Burns fight, or what, because we know Joker and Burns have that connection with getting the Adola link at the same time.
Mhm. Had it.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be next episode, but I do see at some point Show returning, and I could actually see him siding with Shinra this time, instead of being with the White Clad, because I feel like this is a whole thing of like now Shinra's feeling like because Burns betrayed him, he has like obviously he has the eighth, but like the people that he was close to, like growing up, he has no one left. So I feel like we might start to see Sho come back. He's on Shinra's side, and that could even the odds against Burns. Because I honestly do think they're going to beat Burns. It's just a matter of like how many of them need to team up against him because of how strong he is.
Mm.
So but in terms of next episode, I do think Obi's going to transform. Um, whether or not they fight him next episode is remains to be seen. But I think we're also going to get more of the fight between Shinra, Joker, and Burns next episode as well.
Very interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next episode already. Guys, this has been our Fire Force discussion video. Let us know down below, create this conversation. What did you think about the episode? Do you think they're going to beat Burns? Are you worried about Obi? Can he be saved? Are you happy to see Arthur back? Just let us know, who's your favorite character, why they're your favorite character. Let us know in the comments. Let's create that discussion, and we will see you guys in the next episode for Fire Force.
Bye.